De evo, 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 aj si šukar čaj, mamo. Aj si šukar balengri, aj si šukar jakengri, mamo. Evo, 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 aj si šukar čaj, mamo. Aj si šukar balengri, aj si šukar jakengri, mamo. Evo, evo,
Taká cigánska. Úplne také, proste, je v tom cigánštiny, proste úplne. Je to pekné, no. Tie husle, proste tie obrázky sú vybraté presne podľa tých cigánskych. Proste také vidím v tom, jak doma napríklad, hej, keď chodíte po dedine a vchádzate do nejakého domu, tak vidíte také obrazy v podobe u každého proste. Tak, není to také, jak by to malo byť, ale vidno to, že je také proste z tej dediny, také dedinské.
My interpretation of this one here is like, that is somebody's house, I'm walking in that one, then I'm turning around into here, and I've walked into somebody else's. Even though they're all different, they're all pictures, you're just walking into somebody's house, and that's what they see, and that's what you feel, you try to get an image from them. And I mean, how sparse it is, and what they value. They don't have riches, but the value is great.
What would we find in your house if we go around your house? What kind of pictures would we find?
There's a picture of my boys, I've got them all over.
Your family members?
My family's important to me. My family really important. Like everybody, like I look around, it's like that one. Now how I know that family's really important to them. That, and you can just see by looking at it, you know. And I think, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and they've given up a lot to actually provide for the family as well. That's what I feel.
Vzťahujete vy, čo máme blízke?
Tak to mi připadá jak u nás doma. Tady.
In here, she feels like at home, like in her own home.
Obyvačky, curtains,
pictures, lamp, chairs, sofa,
děti, koberec,
children, carpet,
tady je.
everything in here. Myslíte si, že Newcastle je teraz váš domov?
Teď je, můžu to taky bude.
Maybe if she dies here, then yes.
Já nevím, protože budu tam, kde budou moje děti.
She'll be where her kids will be.
A bude to pro ně domov, tak i pro mě to bude domov.
If the children will be here, this is her home. If the children are elsewhere, this is where their home is. Děti, takže podle dětí. Depending on children, yeah.
A začnou děti chodit do školy, manžel tady má práci, děti chodí do školy, no. A že prostě furt to je něco jiného, ne? V Čechách a tady to je furt jiný, je to jiný, tady je velký rozdíl být doma a být tady. Moje děti tady chodí do školy a stěžují si na, já nevím, je to jiný, no, jinak se chovají k mým dětem. Jo, abych mi řekla takhle, že tady jsou lidi, kteří, tady jsou tolik lidí, plno národností, že ti to tady ani nepřijde, že jsi Romka. Ani na doava, že sa Romani.
Here,
já tady kájem, protože hodík jsou Romani nevykeno. Je zas, a se pekada za Bystrica, ale cykliuje. Člověk si tady na to zvykne, víš, jak zvykneš si na to, že zapomeneš na to, že jsi Romka. Že si tmavší pleti. Tady to máš hodně, tady máš plno lidí takových. Šadzik. A nepřijde ti to do hlavy, že ty jsi Romka, že máš tmavou pleť, chápeš, tak to je normální. Ale doma, jen kam dáš nohu, tak tam ti to vždycky nadhodí.
It's a real surprise to come into this small area, very comfortable. You can just wander in, and the television screens up there, part of the exhibition, showing a split screen with the families talking to each other, and you can see the sadness in their eyes, and they're happy as well to see each other. But there was one clip where a father was sat there talking to his family and wanted to appear strong, and he just couldn't. He was explaining how he didn't have the to be able to express his true feelings, and then he had to go off camera because the emotion was too much for him. And it really brings it home to you that these people are among strangers, you know, in Benwell, Scotswood, and they're trying to improve their lives. They're trying to make things better for their own families and sending money home, and it's really commendable. It's given us a better understanding, you know, of how difficult it is for people, you know, coming here not knowing the language, trying to fit in, trying to get a job, and the stigma that they have in their own country of being trusted even to have a job in a supermarket. It's quite horrendous, really. But I just think that the film's done so much good to bring these families together so they can see each other and at least talk and share, you know, what their lives are like now.
This thing on TV, believe me, I think it's very emotional.
It's powerful.
Because I don't see myself any different from these guys as a migrant, and if I were to get an opportunity of talking to my family on TV, you know, that would be even fab, you know. I know we are privileged in different ways. I can call them on daily basis, speak to them on different. But yeah, it's a bit moving, I think, for the community. You could tell when they were coming out of the building that it has taken them miles away. I think, I don't know how, you know, with funding, come back again and do it for projects. It helps lots of people here. It does heal. It's a therapy. Catching up, we know how much the community has suffered lots of discrimination and how people have been displaced, moved out and about. But when there's contact, it's much better for the community.
There have been a lot of changes in Benwell and Scotswood, you know, different communities, people moving in. And I think at first, a lot of the residents have a kind of resentment because they don't know these people and they don't understand, you know, where they're coming from, what their culture is, how they feel. And it's just sort of a them and us kind of situation. And an exhibition like this does give you an empathy with people. You know, it's a very difficult thing that they have to do, to come here very brave, and it's important to get their memories, the transitions, the difficulties that they've experienced, to make it easier for others coming after them, you know. We need to share that, you know, their culture. There should be more films like this. I think it's definitely worth having. Yeah.
It's people's private lives, you know, so everybody can relate to that. Everybody's got photographs like this at home, probably tucked, you know, in a drawer somewhere. And it was really moving watching the film from my mother's perspective, seeing some of them crying when they could see the families over in Britain. They were over in their country, and that was really, really moving. So I'd like to see what else happens. I mean, I know that one of the families has already gone back and they've met, and I think it's things like that sort of anecdotal stuff that really makes the project really special to the individuals that are involved.
Yeah, and we also made one family we made them homesick, didn't we? Yeah. It was really nice because, again, the human element came out. So they went homesick. And it was, so we were filming in June 2011, and in December same year they decided to travel to Slovakia to visit their family who they approached. 6 or 8 years, yeah, 6. So they traveled, and it's actually, we've been in touch with the family, and I spoke to the mother of the kids. She says it's the first time she's been away from her kids since she had them. She's got 5 kids. One of them is 14, 15 years old. She's never been away from them, so they made it for 3 days. They came back after 3 days of being in Slovakia, and we have this lovely photo album from that trip, which she kindly allowed us to use for this exhibition. So there's pictures from the trip, leaving the airport in Newcastle. No, they traveled through Edinburgh to Bratislava.
This is Slovak sausage.
Typical Slovak sausage. What do we call it? Špekačka. That's my favorite image. Lot of sleeping kids. Everybody was tired. Perhaps they had never stopped talking. So we triggered something here, which is the connection of families. We triggered the homesickness, so it's good.
A nechýba vám niekedy Slovensko? Ste tam boli teraz prednedávno pár dní.
No zase by som si nevedela teraz, bola som doma, ale nevedela by som si proste zvyknúť už. Proste je to iné, už sme zvyknuté na ten systém.
Lepšie. Ale to nemyslím ako, že vy ste sa tam vrátili, ale že či vám to vôbec ako, že si spomeniete niekedy, že hory sú tam iné.
Jasné.
Povedzte pani celú vetu nejako.
No, máme spomienky krásne takže deti tam rastli.
Prečo vlastne žijete tu?
Kvôli deťom.
No ale kvôli čomu, že kvôli deťom?
Proste majú tú lepšiu výhodu, jak doma.
Čo to je výhoda?
Doma napríklad by sme, tu majú možnosti, majú všelijaké možnosti, majú možnosti sa vyučiť za to, za čo chcú. Proste je to celkom iné ako doma. Doma by si také veci napríklad dovoliť nemohli, jak tu, v tých školách.
There's a lot of things go on that we don't know, we don't understand, that people have a lot of questions about, and because, sometimes you're afraid to ask things because in case you're accused of things, but no, I really think that that did help. I think there should be more like that. There should be more like that, to let you different cultures, just to let you see how, how other people live and how they interact with you, and you know how to react with them. Yes, I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. It was really emotional. It was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fantastic. There should be more, as Sheila said, with different cultures. I think that we, especially the Geordies, would probably be able to understand a bit more. Because some of them tend to be a bit ignorant of how other people live. And I think if it was shown wider, it would be a lot better. People would understand a lot more. So yeah, it was really good. Fantastic.
I think it's really important that we get to see films like this, and I think I would look at showing people more of it, because we know that there is a lot of prejudice, there is a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of kind of misconceptions about all sorts of different communities, and I suppose I often wondered why would the Czech Roma people want to come to Benwell. It's not as if, nothing against Benwell, but it's not like internationally known as a fantastic place to come. There's obviously been a reason for people to come, why they picked here. And now I can see why you certainly want to come to this country, because there are the opportunities that they don't have in their own country. And I think it's really important that people, if they come, the children go to the schools, that they integrate with the community, and people just see them as individuals, because you can't hate an individual, but I think often people have hatred towards whole communities of people because they don't know them, because it's about fear. And I think this really gives you an insight that they're just individual families who've got the same hopes and dreams as any family would, so I think that's really important.
You can't blame people for wanting to have a better life, and they all seem to me as if they were more than prepared to work for it.
It's very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's these? The sunset?
So this is sunset in Slovakia and sunset in England. So
It's very
two
different,
worlds.
isn't it? So this is the first time we've had anything like this in Riverside. I mean, I've worked in Riverside for a long time, and I used to come to Riverside before I worked here, and I've never seen an art exhibition in Riverside, so this is something really new. It's interesting.
Really have enjoyed the exhibition, that's the first thing I want to say. When I first saw it, I was having a look around with a friend and just seeing the little bits and pieces, because obviously the cafe is always in use, so you can't see everything in one go, which is good actually. And the thing that we said to each other was the feeling of warmth that we got, especially in here where the sort of lounge area has been created, which does feel like a little bit of someone's home. I find that very effective, very affecting as well. The film I found quite moving, and it did make me think a lot about displacement, about friends and family, about what people talk about as kinship nowadays, and how important that is. I think the thing that resonated for me immediately, I thought about my mother. So she was an immigrant. She came from Ireland when she was very young. She didn't complete school. This would have been quite some years ago. So when she came to England, yeah, she had very little. And I was wondering for myself how difficult that would be if I had to be somewhere else. Possibly not through my own choice or through necessity of some sort, perhaps economic necessity.
I think that it is important to work with communities like the Roma community in our city. They are potentially an underrepresented group, and it gives them a voice, and it also, I think the film gives them a platform to show who they are and what is important to them, and actually sitting watching it had a great deal of empathy in terms of what was important to them, and the essence of their lives is their family. So I think it is very important to give them a voice, and this is a very creative way of doing it.
We're really delighted by this exhibition. Through this Homelands project, we wanted to reveal something about Roma culture and something about the reasons for migration, kind of to introduce people to who's living next door to their neighbours. I think this exhibition does that. I think it does reveal those things. I think it's also important to say that a project of this kind of scale and intensity couldn't be done without other organisations. We work very closely with the Newcastle Arts team through Newcastle City Council, and also Riverside Community Health Project was really instrumental in this because they provide that continual additional support. We passionately believe here at ISIS that artists have a vital role to play in these projects that look at community integration. My worry is that as funding becomes difficult and public funding is cut so much, that actually these projects become almost impossible to do, or they certainly become very difficult to do. But we are, as artists and arts organisations, resilient, and we're passionate about what we do, so we aim to continue to do it.
I see sugar chai mamo. I see sugar balengri. I see sugar yakengri mamo. Evo evo evo. I see sugar chai mamo.